They call it all hours, sometimes even when you're at work.
For some people, battling bill collectors in these tough times is so embarrassing, it's enough to drive them to tears.
Yeah, it can be humiliating. So what can you do? In tonight's Fact Finders report, expert advice on how to turn the tables on the collection agencies.
Here's Peter Thorne.
Jim and Katie, complaints against debt collectors are surging. And wait until you get the lowdown on some tricks of the trade. One viewer contacted me with his story, and it's downright scary. As the economy slumps, bill collectors are turning up the heat. But if you know your rights, you don't have to stand for being hassled and harassed. You can fight back. Wall Street rocky, the economy anemic, but one business is booming, debt collectors, and they're getting so aggressive, it's costing people their jobs.
I have several clients that have been terminated from their place of employment as a result of continuous calls to the debt collector.
This man says he's gone through hell at the hands of one debt collector in our area.
I have this one bill collecting firm. It's incredible. They just lock onto you and they just won't let go.
Fred is a freelance writer from our area.
Freelance writers live on a very low income. They have to fight with the sparrows for the breadcrumbs. It's a beans and rice existence.
And he's disabled. Fred fell behind on credit card payments. Now he's fighting off a determined debt collection firm, Eltman and Cooper.
They're a bloodsucker bill collector firm. They're phenomenal. These people, they're worse than piranha. And they just never quit.
They're based right here in New York in this nice-looking downtown skyscraper. But where it really gets ugly is online. At websites like this one, the internet's overflowing with consumer complaints. Just some of the online comments about Eltman and Cooper. They're low-life scum. May God strike them down. New York's Better Business Bureau joins the chorus of complaint.
Eltman and Cooper is in our system. They have more than one complaint with no response and therefore have an unsatisfactory rating.
A quick look online at court filings shows Eltman and Cooper as the defendant in more than a half dozen federal lawsuits over fair debt collection. The New York State Attorney General's office confirms receiving more than a dozen complaints against the firm, which they referred to New York City's Department of Consumer Affairs. That agency reveals nearly 24 complaints. The agencies involved did not reveal how any of the cases were resolved, and we were not able to determine the final outcome of any lawsuits.
The first thing that happens, all of a sudden, I can't get at my bank account. By now, from experience, I know that means Eltman is back.
Fred claims Eltman and Cooper keeps freezing his bank account, preventing him access to his only income, his Social Security check, money which under the law supposedly can't be touched.
And it's so embarrassing you could just cry.
So many consumers are without knowledge, they don't know where to turn.
We asked this lawyer who helps people like Fred for some general advice about fighting bill collectors.
They're not allowed to call before 8 o'clock in the morning or after 9 p.m. They're not allowed to call third parties to harass any friends or family members about the collection of debt. They're not allowed to try to attach wages repeatedly or cause the client to incur fees where they know that there's no legal basis.
And they can't call you at work. When we called Eltman and Cooper, we got exactly the same kind of nasty, high-handed, obnoxious treatment so many consumers are complaining about. In these tough times, you might expect a tone of understanding, even a little compassion. You'd be wrong. The person who took our call refused to even reveal her name, but admitted getting calls, quote, all the time from people complaining about being harassed by her firm. She refused to let us speak to anyone in a management position, then insisted no matter how many times we called or emailed, we could forget about getting any kind of response. When told people were calling the firm a collection of low-life scum and blood-sucking piranhas, the response was, "That's all right. We're used to those kind of things." Then a dial tone. This lawyer says he stands ready to help anyone like Fred being hounded by aggressive debt collectors. He knows exactly how far debt collectors can go and how to slap them back, and he'll help you for free. Because under the law, if he wins, the debt collectors have to pay his fee. Talk about turning the tables. Now, no one is even suggesting you not pay your debts, but in this economy, sometimes something's got to give, and you fall behind. When that happens, bill collectors have rules they have to obey too. They can't harass you, and if they break the rules, you can fight back. To get in touch with the lawyer you just saw in our story, go to our website, WPIX.com/factfinders, and remember, if something's